Good morning, everyone. Well, actually, almost within 45 minutes of being afternoon. Meant to come on earlier, get your day going with some news. If people that has a chance to watch it, listen to whatever. Raining where we are, so I guess we need the rain. Hoping that we're seeing it's getting lighter, or staying lighter rather, in the afternoons a little bit each day. It seems like a little bit longer. Thinking yes, spring is coming. We're never satisfied, are we? At any rate, I'm gonna try to keep this under an hour and not have you guys sitting there for a long time. I'm gonna try to go through these as fast as possible, but when I get on my soapboxes and have to fight these things, we like our animals, we love our animals. At any rate, let's go ahead and get started right quick. This first one on the list is hackers allegedly hijacked drone after massive breach at NASA. Hackers released 631 aircraft and radar videos, 2,143 flight logs, and data on 2,414 employees. Waiting for this to load here. You can actually see it happening. We've got some pretty computer savvy people, and to some people that's all they do. Some people, hey, look, if the FBI, CIA, other, NSA, all that, hire computer experts that can hack into stuff. That's one of the latest thing with the age of technology that's really is cyber terrorism and cyber security and hacking and all that good stuff. So a collection of files provided to InfoWars, which most of you know is Alex Jones' website. Says it provided to InfoWars by a non-sec admin. Okay, I don't even know if that's an actual name or a typo. Anyway, prior to being made public Sunday, included what I just said, the number. It was the names and email and addresses and phone numbers of a lot of employees. 2,414 employees. Said a zine, a resign, or self-published paper detailing the hack, dubbed Ops NASA Drones, reveals everything from non-sex motives to the specific technical vulnerabilities, I can talk, that enabled the extensive breach. So NASA has been breached more times than most people can honestly remember. However, this hack into NASA wasn't initially focused on drones, data, and upper atmosphere chemical samples. That's one thing they could get, though, would be probably a good log of the chemtrails that are being sprayed. That's part of the reason that a lot of people are sick, stay sick, have cancer, and a host of other things. And said, in fact, the original breach into NASA systems wasn't even planned. It was caught up in a Gozl, I can't, it's Gozl, Gozl, I guess you can call it, virus spread. I'd never heard of that one before. The hackers are out, referring to the infamous Trojan that has infected more than 1 million computers to date. Well, I've never been into doing any kind of hacking or something like that, so that's not really my area of expertise or really even thought. I don't, but it happens a lot more than we're told. No doubt at all. I mean, from other countries, and we do the same to them. Cyber warfare. It's latest and greatest. So here we are, and it's been going on, as I said, for longer than anyone knows. Even I guess at the point when Al Gore created the internet. Yes, I'm being facetious when I say that. At any rate, the government will see this coming, looking ahead, and be able to do that. Devise ways to be able to do that. Even back in the days when you remember the slowest modems and the large computers that we first started out with. You remember everyone remember the sound of the modem, the way it sounded when it dialed up and connected to the network. It's just one of those annoying sounds that you never forget. At any rate, let's move on. This is nations raised about Zika, and there's another article further down about this. It says, and devise useless plans. Well, we do know that according to what we're being told, I say it that way for a reason. This started. We got you guys. I'm sure out there, you guys are smart. You guys look up stuff. You know how some of the back history on the Zika virus, discovered in 1947. Apparently, it's mutated. People, raised mosquitoes with a mutated version of it, and from the lab released it in South America, Brazil. So, if we're to believe that. And of course, then it's spread, all the way up, and had 6 or 7 cases to this point. I don't know. These articles, I don't know if they're just keeping it hush, as so it works. But I don't know. Maybe it'll tell us here. I wanted to just flip through this right quick. Does say novel and old pathogens my goodness, are emerging at a rate of 5 per year. We're seeing more stuff that we thought once upon a time we had victory over. Had vaccines, and it wasn't, but there's they're bringing stuff back, and I believe that at one point there's going to be some stuff. If there's not already being stuff that's cultured in lab, that they're getting ready to release, or possible being released already, that has some type of an incubation period, that at one point we're going to start seeing it. And that's what's in our food, what's in the chemtrails in the air that we breathe. So at any rate, let's move down here. What I was saying was I can't seem to find anything. I probably overlooked it. There's so much I look at and everything about how many actually cases are here in the states so far. Last I heard was like 5, 6, or 7 different states. So at any rate, definitely something to keep an eye on. Interesting. Let's see this website. If everyone wanted to read this, let me. Now you can do it searching if you want to read the rest of this. I'm not going to belabor stuff because this is some of it's technical stuff, and talks about the just varying different aspects of the virus and stuff. But if you want to look it up and read it, it's www.nonaiswa.org. And that middle word is all one word, nonaiswa.org, if you want to do some more research on it and reading on it. But anyway, there's an article down about more about the Zika, so this is not the only thing we'll be talking about. Security this week. License plate readers in Texas are also now debt collectors. What? Okay, well, see what that's all about. Let's see. Wow. Yeah, this is an extremely extremely long article. So supposedly, this is just another way of the government spying on us, being able to connect us, with to our license plate. Everybody knows about the traffic cameras and everything, and if you go through the yellow light at a certain point, you'll see the big flash of light. It's pretty bright. At one point I saw it go off. It wasn't us that went through. It was someone else that went through. Saw it, thought that was light. Was that lightning? It was actually traffic cameras. So at any rate, that's vehicles. Let me read a little bit of this. Vehicle surveillance broker Vigilant Solutions has offered Texas law enforcement agencies free access to its massive automated license plate reader databases and analytical tools, but only if the police give Vigilant access to all of their data on outstanding court fees and hand the company a 25% surcharge from money collected from drivers with outstanding court fines. A Vigilant also gets to keep a copy of any license plate data collected by the police even after the contract ends. And this thing popped up and lost in place. Contract and can retain it indefinitely. Just more Big Brother, more ways for them to spy. Say, well, no, they're just trying to get you to pay your court costs. Well, I understand that, but they're going a little bit overboard. That I don't know. Let's move on. Trying to get you done here. Interesting. AI champions artificial intelligence. AI champions hope to convince you that you and I, created God in our image, same way the atheists and everybody, all these other people talk about. This is trying to convince you that we created God in our image and that the entities who emerge from technological singularity will soon set us free from our outdated superstition. Oh boy, my goodness, that's just well, I've done reporting on stuff like that, quite a bit with the science, people trying to create artificial intelligence and how could actually turn against us. People cite, I'm talking about artificial intelligence, people used to cite the whole Terminator movies, the whole Skynet thing, where it gained sentience and just, wiped out the human race, had those Terminator robots. If you want something more recent, though, think about the last Avengers movie, Age of Ultron. It was about this, computer system that gained sentience and, turned against, people, turned against the humans, and of course the Avengers, do their thing and, save the day, all that good stuff. It says if you create this recent cultural obsession, which deserves its own post, prompts a comment by awestruck Caleb after Nathan the Mad Scientist reveals his attempt to build a conscious machine and to helpfully to explain to the audience what a Turing test is. If you've created a conscious machine, it's not the history of man, that's the history of God's. There's a funny symmetry in our attitudes to God and AIs. When our species created God, oh boy, here we go. We created him in our own image. That's what they say. That's what they believe. We assume that something as complicated as the world must be run by a human-like entity, albeit a superpowered one. Wow, boy, these people were just digging themselves a pit right straight down, or basically a laundry chute right to hell, aren't they? Says we believe that he must, talking about this God that we created, they say, we believe that he must be preoccupied with our daily lives and existence. We prayed to him and told ourselves that our prayers would be answered, and that if they weren't, then it was part of some divine plan for our lives, and all would work out in the end. Okay, well, there's a lot more I could read. If you want to read more about this, I'm starting to give you that way I can cut some time. I'm reading a little bit and give you the web address if you want to write it down. This comes from skywatchtv.com. I've given you that web address before. Very good articles, very good stuff on there. Check it out. So at any rate, yeah, these AI people, scientists, atheists, say, but that we created God in our own image, same as these other cultures did and everything. So, well, what can you do? You pray for them to come to knowledge of the truth. But talking about AI, there's been people, including myself, who've thought about this and made links to thinking about, when there's life given to the image of the beast. Could we be looking at something along the lines of AI? As far as stuff in what we would consider the natural, or it may be actually something that they might do that it will end up supernaturally taking off, even out of their hands. I think they control it. So who knows? It's worth thought. Just to, let it flop around in your noodle for a while and think about that. That's just, it's what we do. We sit and ponder on stuff and consider stuff, and that's what I like about doing stuff like this. Is it gives it, because look, a lot of stuff that we're going to deal with is not inside a box. We know God's not inside a box, so don't put him inside of it, and don't put everything else inside a box, and just have that stale church existence where you sit there and that's all you do is just sit, and the world and everything going on, you don't know what's going on, you're not watching, you're not learning stuff about some of the stuff that's going on around you. I don't say that to be mean. I'm just saying, the more information, the more prepared you are for this stuff, the better off you're going to be. They say knowledge is power, So, with the fool in his heart said, there is no God. Would have the wisdom and knowledge, and the Lord said He would give it to us liberally. Wouldn't as we talked about in Sunday school yesterday morning, I said for myself, hey, I crave that wisdom and that knowledge about His Word, His will, and His Word. There's stuff in there that's amazing, and I even made a statement. Said, hey, this book, holding up the Bible, said this book come out of eternity. And it did come out from eternity. No man could write something like that, especially with the prophecies that have come to pass, and 100%. And it's not going to fail. It's going to be everything is going to be accomplished. Everything will be passed according to what it said, no doubt whatsoever. So let that strengthen you out there. Don't let an article like this get you down and think, everybody's just doing this and everybody's against us. And you know what? There's no contest. If you are on the Lord's side, there's no contest. You will be, if you stay in it, you will be victorious. So, anyway, let's move on here. Sweden becomes first person to board a plane with just a wave of his hand. Do I sniff maybe some kind of a RFID chip or something like that? And I'm not going to try to pronounce these people's last names, Swedish last names, and it just won't sound right, and I'll sound like an idiot more so than normal. So I'm not going to try. But anyway, it says throngs of weary travelers stream through one of Europe's busiest travel hubs, the female security guard at Stockholm, Orlando, not Orlando, but Arlanda in Stockholm airport, looked up at Andreas, and I'm not saying last name, and looked confused. Somehow, without a boarding pass or even a smartphone, this gentleman had managed to activate her scanner, and the system was telling her to let him in. The guy's last name, just going to call him Andrew by his first name, is not a robot or a Jason Bourne style secret assassin. He's simply a curious Swede who decided to have a microchip implanted in his hand with his frequent flyer identification number on it. So we're seeing the beginning. I mean, people, without a doubt, I believe, and you guys know my thoughts on the whole mark of the beast. As I've said, I believe that technology, that super type technology even, will come into play. But that's not the only thing. There are going to be several different things that go into making what the mark of the beast is. And at the worst possible thing about it is once you take it, that's it. You punch your ticket for damnation, for eternity. You've consciously rejected Christ here and forever and placed your faith in the beast system and the Antichrist. So, and preachers and you preachers out there, you false teachers and false prophets, stop preaching that you can take the mark of the beast and still go to heaven. Either you don't really know your Bible, or you're just trying to deceive some people to make people feel good and to continue your paycheck coming. My goodness, brother, you're being hateful. Yeah, if you're deceiving people into doing that and making them hell-bound when the time comes, then yeah. Peter was doing something along the same lines, doing stuff with the Jews as they did it, and then when he's with the Gentiles, he was doing it. He was kind of playing both sides of the fence. And Paul withstood him and said, I had to withstand him to his face. Now, granted, I'm not face to face with you, but if this message or this news already gets out to anybody that sees it, that's a pastor, a preacher, a teacher, something like. If you're teaching that, then you are responsible. You will be held responsible for the souls that you're going to deceive by preaching that rotten, totally false doctrine that you're preaching. How you can get that out of God's word when it says that if you take the mark, then you're hell-bound. I don't know how well, it's just a chip and I can just cut it out and, no. There are other things that are going into it. A chip may be part of it just for the technological point of it, to where you can buy and sell and everything like that. And if you don't have that, it says that you can't buy or sell. But there are other things, as I said. You're going to make a conscious choice to follow the wrong leader, to follow the side of darkness. At any rate, that was okay. That was a quick soapbox, but I think that's an important one. Woe to you false prophets and you false teachers. And it said in the last days there's going to be many of them. Stay with the Bible. Quit playing a popularity contest, people. Are you on power trips? I know you like your check and your money and stuff like that. Are you part of the bunch that went into seminary thinking, hey, I'm going to get out of here and I'm going to get a job as a preacher and I'm going to make vast amounts of money? Are you part of that crowd? Shame on you. Preaching God's word in iniquity and lying about it. You're going to be held responsible. Your blood is upon your own head, and the people that you deceived, their blood's going to be on your head. Anyway, come on, let's move on now. A little bit of course, economic news still in the news, and I know it seems like it's people have been like this and just waiting for something to happen. There's no clear marker as when it's going to happen. It's just one day you're going to wake up and it's boom, overnight it's going to do something. It's going to crash. So the people that are still taking money out, fire safing it, protecting it for as long as it's still worth what it is, which is not much anymore, but still at one point. I think you still need to do that, just in case, because like as I said, if the bank does a bail in, whatever you have in there, it's gone. It's theirs. They're going to use it to cover their debts. I've said that I don't know how many times, and you guys can check that out. But I still say that you should have an escape plan, sort of, have a backup plan, and keep the majority of what you have, fire safe it, do something, because we don't know when and if this is going to hit. Hey, look, I hope and pray that nothing like that hits anytime soon. A lot of people think us people talking on here and, teaching and preaching and bringing the news like this, and just doing what we're supposed to do, being watchmen, doing all things that the Lord would have us to do. Think we have a good time reporting this bad stuff, and we just get all, our jollies out of that. No, I don't enjoy telling bad things and stuff that's coming, but if it's something I see coming, and I know you other guys out there are doing the exact same thing, you have to do what the Lord tells you to do. A lot of times people don't like it, but like I said earlier about being a false prophet, being a false teacher, this is not a popularity contest. I'm not being on here trying to be the next virtual world's Billy Graham, okay? No, that's not my aim. My aim is to bring news to you, to preach, to teach God's word. That way you can be prepared, because there's no doubt we're in the last days. Amen. No doubt at all. Let's move on. In that economic news, former Reagan White House official warns we are nearing the end, the war on cash and the coming global bank runs. So that's what I was saying. You don't. My guess is when and if this happens, it will be an overnight thing. That way, no one's busting out windows trying to get into a bank. They're going to. It's going to be riots, especially. At banks. It's going to the grocery stores. Like I said, I never considered myself a prepper, as they call them, but I think you seriously need to have some fallback, some extra on hand, water, canned goods, because this could happen. There's so many other things that could happen that could stop our way of life and change it forever, and things will never be the same. Kind of scary, kind of sad, yeah, but in these last days, there's so many things that can happen that's foretold that's going to happen. It's just a matter of what method is going to be used to fulfill what's been foretold that's going to happen. This may be one of the ways. Another way, and even said it before, imagine an EM, electromagnetic pulse over the United States, or several, or something like that, or something coming, however it's done. I won't go into the details of how it could possibly be done, because people are going to be like, okay, that's just too weird. But if say an EM blast happens over a city, they're shut down. It's like it's go back to the pioneer days when you're using a fire to heat stuff up, and you're using candles, and that's it. Everything's shut down totally. So just be ready. Be thinking about this stuff while we still can. If you need to get a supply of stuff, like I said, as I said, food and water. If nothing else, what's happened. What was it? Flint, Michigan, the water being poisoned. West Virginia a couple of years ago, their water was poisoned for around 2 or 3 weeks. Couldn't wash clothes, bathe, nothing in it. So, just in the thought of that, it'd be good to have an extra supply of stuff on hand to keep for some kind of disaster like that. Well, the elite doesn't want us to have any of that. They want us to be broken down and accept their terms and take the mark and obey them because they're obeying their master. And they're we won't get into that right now, but that's exactly. You see it coming. It's funneling down. We're seeing what at the end result. Let's see. One of the bloodiest days of the not World War. I'm confusing it. This is the verdict. Light has come into the world, but people love darkness instead of light because their deeds were evil. Amen. Let's see. It says, as Western leaders, most especially Obama, say we are not in a world war, and John Kerry, gathers with other leaders to talk peace and safety. Remember that? He talked peace and safety, and then sudden destruction comes upon him. It says, talk peace and safety. The not World War had one of its bloodiest weekends. Boko Haram, the group that kidnapped all those women at one point, and they're still in operation right now. Boko Haram in Nigeria launched what was described as the most heinous attacks to date. Now, granted, we are in skirmishes and small mini wars, some that we're not even told about around the globe. We're at the mercy of the news that people take as gospel. Some people don't get their CNN during the day, or then they're just lost. Or Fox News, or whatever news that you might use. In the mainstream, the one that's that's controlled by the establishment, by the elite, that tell them and allow them to only report certain things. But at the military level, they're told the same way. They're under that control in the same manner. So, at any rate, it says, with witnesses describing a 4-hour siege that forced witnesses to listen helpless, and this is sad, as children's cries were heard as they were burned alive. People, this is going on right now. Right now, you're like, oh, brother, don't tell me that. I don't want to hear about that. Look, let something like that put you into action. And next you'll ask, well, what kind of action are you talking about? That's for you and the Lord to decide. That's for the Lord to decide and to tell you what you're going to do. And nothing else, you get down and pray. Like this, our government doesn't care about anything like that. When have they cared about that? We got people starving in other countries. It's been up to people, churches, missionary workers, all these other groups, non-governmental groups that have to help because the governments won't help. Their own governments won't help. So therefore our governments won't help either. Big agreement. And we all know who controls this world system right now. So, there you have it. Suicide bombings in Iraq and Syria that came as Kerry was touting progress. Oh, whatever. And peace killed scores more. The starving in Syria are still starving and dying as the world leaders are more concerned about a political end than about slaughter, genocide, and starving. Absolutely. They're more worried about these elections and we got to get in power, we just fighting each other. My goodness. I could really say a few things now. I don't want to, because if I was to say what's burning in me to say right now about all that, then someone would see this video and accuse me of something and probably come and arrest me for saying some stuff. So, at any rate, I'm not going to say it. Cooler heads prevail. But anyway, as I said, there's just so many things going on around, so many skirmishes and wars going on around the world that we just don't hear about. Just our political parties, that's all they're interested in, is sitting there and fighting each other for control of the White House. It's all about money and power. That's what they want. Moving on, we will find ourselves disarmed, and when we become disarmed, it's over. They want to know who you are, they want to know what you have, and they want to know where you live, said Derek E. Grayson. Excuse me. Man, nose itching this. So the candidate to represent Georgia in the U.S. Senate has issued a warning to middle-class America about Washington's plans to control guns. They want to know who you are, they want to know what you have, and they want to know where you live, said Derek E. Grayson. The Second Amendment is not about hunting. I agree. It's about protecting ourselves from a tyrannical government. I agree. And the whole thing about the Second Amendment, people are talking about, we won't be able to hunt, we won't be able to hunt. You know, it was never about that. That was the furthest thing from when they framed this and wrote this, the Second Amendment, from their mind, because they even said it would stand against a tyrannical government. At this point, too, it'll stand against terrorist acts as well. But it says, make no mistake about it, gun control is not about crook control or crime control, evil control. It's about America control. That's what they want to do. His comments appeared on a video that was posted online a few weeks ago, but recently has started getting attention. Said on his drive time video, and it shows, I've not watched the video, but it shows the guy, and he's in the vehicle driving. I guess, you know, when you're driving, you have these thoughts, and you just hit record and start talking. Said the video he posted online a few weeks ago, but recently has started getting more attention. On his drive time video, Grayson explained his view of the constitutional guarantee that individuals can keep and bear arms. Said once through the short advertisement, whatever. Not my doing. The next 4 minutes, tell it like it is. I haven't watched it. I probably will. But I'm I support the Constitution. The First and Second Amendments. I support all that. I love the country that we should be. That they wanted to set up. But you got to remember, even though we had all that, the elite, even back in those days, were talking about people. I know that wasn't going on back. Yeah. And as I've said, I still need to find those. The elite were mentioned back in those days too, and they were actually, they even used the name Illuminati. So, don't let these movies fool you and make you think that they don't exist. That's just something that come out of the mind of Dan Brown or whoever writes these books or something like that. We're talking about real life elite that are controlling things under the prince of this world system. Says, let's see here, just a little bit more and I'll move on. It says crooks don't give a blank curse word about gun control laws. They're crooks. That's what they do. That should be the end of the argument right there. It doesn't matter. Crook's going to steal and find another way to harm you if you can't get a gun. It's not about keeping the guns out of the hands of the bad people, because they're going to get them anyway. It's just about keeping this. The government does not. I'm sorry. It's just, I know it's a tagline that people said this a million times over probably. The government does not want you to be armed, period. It's a matter of control. This gun control, referencing recent Connecticut legislation, is about law-abiding citizens, in particular white middle-class Americans. Y'all need to understand and see what's going on with this country and what they are trying to do. Let's see, and I'm going to give you this web address so that way you can go and read more of it as well. Good article that it seems, and it has the video attached to it. So Come on now. Okay. The web address for that is www. And this is all one word, allselfsustained.com. And you'll find the article there. That is all self-sustained, all one word, .com. So go check it out, watch the video, see what this gentleman has to say. I agree with what he has to say, absolutely. Second Amendment rights, not about going duck hunting. It's about, being able to protect ourselves. And I'll just say, from anything. It's not just from a tyrannical government. We've got terrorism now, and we've got other things that I won't go into right now. Moving on. Is technology causing us to evolve? I'm sorry, I'm gonna try to get through this. Is technology causing us to evolve into a new species? Expert believes superhumans called Homo Optimus will talk to machines and be digitally immortal by 2050. This is part of the transhumanist movement that we've talked about before. That we're going to be able to transfer our consciousness into a machine or a robotic body, and therefore be eternal, and not have to worry about a judgment from God, because I don't even believe God exists anyway. It's just us, and we're here, and we've got to push our own next evolutionary point. That's what they're talking about, and talking about doing it through technology. Okay. The virus Zika. This is titled Zika Freaka. The other shoe drops. Lying about case numbers, in case you're wondering, of the previously touted 4,180 cases of microcephaly, the disease that, a child is born with a smaller head and brain, said in Brazil. Said the actual number of confirmed cases is only 270. So do we have a case here of the media blowing something out of proportion, or was somebody just trying to do some kind of test run to see how people react? It's known that the government does that. The CIA has done that before, thrown something out and kind of pushed it through the media to see how people would react to it. And this just happened to be something about a virus, and it could be anything else, but they've done viruses before as well, talking about it. Even right now they're pushing it at the older stuff, as I mentioned earlier, older viruses and diseases that we have overcome in the past are making a comeback in different forms and ways that we don't have any cures for. So at any rate, well, we knew this was coming. Talked about this. Scene at 11, company developing tech tattoos, and I've reported on this before. It's a actual tattoo, computerized. It's got it's a tech tattoo, so people can track their medical and financial info, and that's going to be one thing to talk about. The mark. I think it was by 2017, according to in the stack, of what people were supposed to read, that all went into Obamacare. That Nancy Pelosi said, we've got to pass it to be able to read it and find out all that was in it. Oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me. I think one of them was supposed to be an implantable microchip that had all of your medical data on it. And and the guy said, well, if you're out and people can't find your wallet, they can scan this and they'll know if you've got allergic reactions to something that they might give you or something like that, in the guise of trying to help. It's always say, we're the government, we're here to help you. We've talked about this before. They're developing, actually already have them, if you just want to know the truth, these tech tattoos. Scientists get gene editing. Go ahead. We talked about the human-animal chimeras, the hybrids of old time, but also that they say, especially in the United Kingdom, there was one point they had like 150 of these things, human chimera embryos. They were, growing up. Look, people, this is old news. This is new reports on it, but what they're doing, they've already done. It doesn't matter if there's an international injunction and the UN and everybody says no, this is unethical. You can't do it. Do you think it matters? You think they're going to stop? You think the Defense Department? You think DARPA? You think all these others are going to stop what they're doing? No, good grief, people. If you do, then you really need to pop your head out of the sand. Guy brought the article up, said, just covering their tracks, gene editing has been going on for decades. So we talked about. Diabolically wicked human-animal hybrid technology has already produced monstrous combos. So just what exactly is out there right now? I said, brother, what are you talking about? Let that soak in. Think about that. What's out there right now that we don't know about, what they're not telling us about what they've done decades earlier. It's food for thought, people. Think about it. And along with this next article goes with that. Pope Francis, our lovely Pope that we have now, said to bless human-animal chimeras. A scientist sought the Vatican's approval for mixing human cells in animal embryos, and the Pope said yes. So basically, this Pope, it's no wonder this Pope was on the front of Time magazine as the Man of the Year and all that good stuff, because he's just saying yes to everything. Popularity, everybody loves me. You don't need Jesus to get to heaven. Everybody loves me. Yeah, go ahead and make these abominations. Do this stuff against God's will, how He intended to do stuff, and just do what you want to do. Mess around with God's creation. See, I'm more popular now. That's there's no shock. It's no shock whatsoever. No shock at all. Especially from him, because as I said, pretty much he's a yes man about anything. Will stand against. Hey, people, we're in the days. People's calling good evil and evil good. So that's just part of it. Mideast Christian suffering and U.S. denial. Roughly 2/3 of Iraq's 1.5 million Christian citizens have been killed or forced to flee the country by ISIS and its jihadi predecessors over the past decade, and this has everything to do with their religious beliefs, of course. With our government, doesn't care whatsoever. They may offer or send out a message saying, "Hey, you better get out of the region, or you might end up dead." They don't send no help. Typical. It's typical what it is today. Let's see here. Just two more and we're going to be done. I'm going to get it under an hour. A group of scientists give standing ovation. Now, apparently this is a big convention of, we'll click on this right here. Because this was, there again, not surprising. But group of scientists give standing ovation for plan to kill 90% of human population with airborne Ebola. What? Some clues about the origins of the latest Ebola outbreak may be found in the contents of a speech given at the 109th meeting of the Texas Academy of Science back in 2006. Professor Eric Pianka reportedly told his audience that the best way to kill off 90% of the human population would be to spread an airborne version of the Ebola virus, to which he received an enthusiastic standing ovation. Well, do you remember me talking about the other night, a news article about the movie that we went and saw? I talked about the fifth wave. where one of the things that was sent down to destroy the adults, the kids, and were mysteriously immune to it, and it was just killing adults basically, was a mutated form of the bird flu. Said it was one of the worst viruses that there is and everything, and these beings sent down a mutated version of it that there was no cure for. They had a cure for it, of course, but we did not have a cure for it and couldn't come up with one. So had a track lined with body bags and everything. You got to imagine this scene in the movie. So, and this is 2006. People think, well, that's just a guy talking about science and how what could happen. Exactly. Do you not think that they don't want to, the Georgia Guidestones, and nobody still really knows? They're mysterious about who put them up. It gives a name about it, some kind of a secret society that talks about depopulation and keeping humans under a certain number so that the planet can sustain. And actually, truly and truly, they want to go further than that. I know the elite will want to go further than that because, they're the elite. They've got all the money. They've got all the power. They've got all the supplies and stuff that they've hidden underground type stuff. It happens, people. I'm sorry if you don't believe me. Then you need to do your research. I know I say that a lot, but it's true. If you don't believe me, you want to check out. Go to some of these things and alternative news that doesn't have an agenda and is not controlled by the state, like state-run news program or station or company. Okay, one more thing. Shocker. New technology allows the average person to build a level 4 bioweapon in their basement. Amazing here. Let's see. Said CRISPR. That's what it's in uppercase letters. It's CRISPR. Technology could change the entire face of modern warfare as any aspiring bioterrorist can buy what they need online. If you thought that the madness we encounter each day had just about reached its zenith, allow me to assure you that we are not quite there yet. Yeah, I agree. Recently made a recording with Mike Adams for our weekly news show, Health Revolt. During the recording, Mike made some stunning assertions about a new procedure called CRISPR, a scientific methodology that could change the way war is waged and could change the way we live our lives. So, of course, it's not going to. There's a video attached to it too. Of course, there's not going to be a list of stuff. Obviously, list of things that you can purchase to do that. That would be pretty silly for them to put that up there. They didn't. Yeah, we thought pipe bombs and stuff like that, and chess, the geologist strapping on an entire bomb vest to him, and we thought that was bad. Now we've got bioterror weapons that can be made by the average person or the average terrorist, and so much more. It's just people. It's all bad news. It's all bad news. No, look. As I said, you Christians out there that are adult Christians can process this stuff and say, yeah, well, we knew this was coming. Thanks for the heads up. Do more research. We'll do more research on it, but we knew all this was coming. They can process it. Some of you I know out there can't do that. It's frightening to you and everything. But be assured that the Lord is still in control, no matter what. After all the stuff I've read, even some of the bad stuff that's going on, some stuff that we may have to endure. Look, if you're saved, then you've got nothing to worry about. Go ahead and give up this flesh and die in it and be with the Lord. And eventually you're going to get that glorified body. once we close our eyes down here and open it, you're absent with the body, present with the Lord. Our worries are over. Don't have to worry about what's going to happen tomorrow or the next day or in the next 5 minutes. We're going to go into eternity. So just keep that in mind. You babes in Christ that are growing up right now, and like as I said, hearing this stuff and it's causing some fear in your heart, take heart. Know that the Lord is in control, and He's in control and stuff. He won't allow anything to come upon you that you're not able to bear. Any temptation. And that's number one thing. Number two, He won't allow anything to come on you that's not part of His will. And we know all things work together for good to those that love the Lord. And we do have to sometimes go through rough times and persecutions and tribulations. No doubt about it. But we've got a God who cares about us and who gave us the only way of salvation when we leave this body, when we die, whatever that may be. So trust in the Lord. Get a thick skin against the enemy. I know we got our spiritual armor on, but you know what? Purpose it in your mind that you're going to stand strong against the enemy and his devices. Because he doesn't like that. He doesn't like for people to resist him, because he's got to flee. That's what it says. Resist the devil and he will flee from you. So be mighty in the Word. Study the Word. Pray. Become a spiritual warrior. And be a good soldier of the Lord Jesus Christ. At any rate, we're a few minutes under an hour. I knew this was going to be an hour. I tried to get through it as quick as I could. But there was just, I hit refresh, and there were several more articles that I wasn't intending on reading, but I thought I might bring it up. So do research on it. Like I said, there's other news sources out there that are not part of the state-run websites and news things that you can get the truth from, that doesn't have an agenda. It's just bringing and telling what's happened. So you can look at those. At any rate, I'm going to hop off here and probably do another video here in a little while, maybe later today or something. Wow, it's afternoon already. Can't believe that day's passing by. So at any rate, blessings in Christ upon each and every one of you, and you have a good day, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye now.